Hello, chat. I'm just gonna test my audio real quick. Okay, audio is working. Wow, we a hardcore world? Yup. Yup. So, y'all know the 2 week Minecraft phase? I'm hoping this isn't 2 weeks. I'm gay, no! But also, yes. But I'm planning on having this be probably longer than 2 weeks. It's not gonna be every stream though. So let's go ahead and go. I need to do the Salem is gonna be put into the gayinator. Yeah. Basically. Basically. Do it, Elma. Do it, do it, do it, do it, do it. So now this is the most important question. What should the world name be? What should it be? I have Mountain Berry Blast Powerade. But what should the hardcore world be? Okay. Oh, that's not how you spell that. There we go. There we go. This world will forever be known as oops, no wait, that's a gun. I do have to do. Damn it. There's a limit. You know what? Hard. Thank you for the follow, Angela B4. Okay, let's create. This might take a while. I don't think my laptop is used to loading the worlds. I heard my music pause. That's concerning. Come on, laptop. Come on. Let's cheer it on. Let's cheer the laptop on. Come on, Obsidian's laptop. Come on. Come on, Obsidian's laptop. Come on. 51%? Come on, you got this. 100%. Hell yeah. My laptop's gonna die. My laptop's gonna die. What do you mean? What do you mean? I didn't realize there was a texture pack. I didn't realize it. Oh wait, there is a texture pack. um how do you get to texture packs? Resource packs? Ah! I didn't do nothing. Why are you red? Why didn't do nothing? Oh, it's redwood. Oh yeah, this is a redwood forest. It's not the normal. Wait, I want to see. Oh my gosh. Oh my PC. Oh my gosh. We just gotta give it a little bit. We just gotta give it a little bit. It's fine. It's fine. We just gotta get it to load a little. Pro's laptop is dying. I know. I know. It's dying. It's just. Hello? We got some redwood logs. FPS going sploinky joinky. Yeah. Oh my god, my frames! And then, like, my computer just explodes. I completely forgot I put Biomes of Plenty in here. Because I got a couple mods. Y'all will probably see them later. Of course, we have to have the map. That zombie was a lot closer looking than it actually was. Okay, we're putting that back. I was like, I'm used to dandies. That's not the right way. My frames. Dude, I think Minecraft is breaking your laptop just a little. What if we put these down just a little bit? You know. Um. You know what? Fuck them clouds. Fuck them clouds. What else? What else? What else? What does that do? I need a new PC. I need a gaming PC. Should I put my Cash App just so y'all can Cash App? Here you go. Here's you can donate here. It's a Cash App, guys. What was I doing? Oh wait, I was changing my controls. Keybinds. You guys are going to be switched again. I am thinking about opening a couple hat commissions, but you do have to be 18. Chat, if you guys want a hat, the Discord, hit me up. I'm poor, but I crochet and knit hats and it's pretty cool. I'm not gonna leave a floating tree, guys, by the way. I'm not that type of person. I'm not the person to... This tree is super tall, though. There's another one? Oh my god. How far up does this tree go? Let's see. Another one. Another one. Another one. Another one. Oh my gosh. Dude. Y'all. The final. Wow. Finally. Another leaf. Yeah, I'm definitely... So tomorrow, technically, will be the day that I officially completely paid off my bike. Not paid off my bike. It's weird. So I used Afterpay to get my bike, and my final payment is literally tomorrow because I get paid tomorrow. And so after that, I'm gonna attempt to try saving up for a PC. So if y'all want to like help me out more and subscribe and watch the ads and not use an ad blocker, you guys can do that. That was $19 Fortnite card. Who won it? What is this forest? This forest looks cool. Fur. What are you? Ah, I like them. Can I put multiple on one? No, I cannot. Can I do anything with this? No, I cannot. Wait, I need to wait for at least a sapling to drop. Wait, I just realized that. Where'd the tree go? Where's my tree? Where did I put the tree? Is it over here? I completely forgot where it was. Oh, there it is. Any saplings? Any saplings? I think I see a sapling. Oh, I already had a sapling. There's a lot of trees in here. I like it. I've never played Biomes of Plenty, by the way. I've never played with this mod. I'm gonna wait. I want to find a village. That's what I want to do. Because I like playing, like, I like finding villages. Oh, I got a fir sapling. Anyways, that's a big ravine. That's not a ravine. It's a little ravine. I just said 3 contradicting things. Hell yeah, we're gonna have redwood. It's a redwood crafting table. Oh my gosh, they're having sex on the crafting table. Y'all remember that? Oh, wait, what do these look like? Ooh, me likey. I need to, not 7. Actually, we're gonna do the typical Minecrafter thing. The typical thing to do. We're also gonna leave that because I only need 2. I don't know why there's 3. Everything's a big drop. I don't want to drop. You're not a big drop. I can actually get stone from you. Oh yeah, let's get stoned, guys. There's a pickaxe. There's an axe. There's a furnace. Hell yeah. Dirt. I like the new leaf litter, honestly, but at the same time, I feel like it's gonna lag my game out one day. I also, okay, so some of the things that I added were a couple new village. What's your least favorite color? I'm gonna be honest, I don't like pink that much. Like, I don't like pink, like, I barely like pink. Also, oh, honestly, orange. That too. I used to be like the biggest fan of orange, but that's only because of Eddsworld and me and my friends like at that time had these like little color schemes because like uh we made like an AU but just of ourselves and so it was like called Ariel Planet or something. Um where Ariel was pink. There was also Maya who was like I think purple at that time. There's also like I think there was like a whole and then I ended up being orange. And I think that was like oh, that was like 2018, 2017, 2018. Holy cow, that was forever ago. I need to find a village, a village, a village. I want to find a village so I can trade with people. Whee! I don't want to fall in there. I don't even want to risk it. It's barely a ravine, but at the same time, that could hurt. That could hurt a little bit. I don't want to be hurt. I should also probably make my stuff real quick. Ooh. Okay, axe, you go into the first one. Pickaxe, you go into the second one. Furnace, you there. We're gonna kill some cows. We're gonna get some. I'm gonna grab my crafting table. Ashes to ashes, dust to dust, filling up my coffee cup. One way to shake me up. I never wanted to sleep my mind. Momentumary leaves they dead. You haven't paid it yet. I never wanted to sleep. Get over here. Also, I got the JEI didn't have a village. JEI didn't have an update for the newest update. This is also on the newest update, by the way. Wow, I'm glad I killed those cows. I found a village. I can. Oh, that's a lot of hay. Be likey. Escape, I wanted to sleep. Don't mind me. I'm just gonna steal some of your wheat. Deep. Muzzled hound. But yeah, I added a couple new village types. Also, I did not add the name one. I think I was gonna add the name one, but then I was like, Nah, because sometimes I get some that are, like, fucking weird. And then it just causes me to hate that villager, even though the villager didn't do anything. It's just the name that's like, ugh. Yippee, I have a food source and I have a place to sleep. Ashes to ashes, dust to dust, filling up my coffee. Just in time too, because it's already nighttime. To sleep up. And what's in your chest? You potato. We can also have another sapling. Give me. Give me. Oh yeah, this is another one of the mods. Oh, fuck you too. Oi! This is my bed now. Get your own bed. Stop it. Let me sleep, thank you. Kind of weird not having to, like, open up both doors. So what all is in this village anyways? What did I just pick up? I have no clue. There's a bell. I saw another bell back there too. There's a cot. It's a pretty kid. It's a pretty kid? It's a pretty cat. I'm so used to Dandy's World. Oh my gosh. I'm so used to Dandy's World. I think there's a chest up here. No, there is not. Whee! Do you still take fall damage on a bed? Oh, I haven't eaten. Oh yeah, I should probably do that. Oh. You're gonna be the fuel for now. Where? Oh, there it is. I forgot. Wood is red. My wood. Oh! That was a very late jump, but at the same time, that scared the shit out of me, bro. Oh, so this morning, I might have, I may have, okay. I was supposed to go to work at, 7:30 in the morning. None of my fucking alarms went off. I woke up at 7:50 like, huh. The sun is it's really bright outside right now for it being like 6 something. I look at my phone and I'm like, "Oh shit. I have work 20 minutes ago." I literally got up, called my manager. I was like, "I'm so sorry. I literally forgot. I did not realize that it was this like I was like literally so like scared that I was gonna get like a write-up or get fired. But no, they were chill about it. Also, our district manager was here today again, and mind you, she's a scary woman. She is a scary woman. I'm not gonna lie, she is scary. I am scared of her. But at the same time, why are you down there? She like we have 2 sets of doors at like my thrift store. And the first one, legitimate, like, the first one that you enter through immediately, like, that's always been closed. And then the second set have always been open. That's how it's been for apparently years. They fucking closed it. They fucking closed it. They closed it. And thing is, the outside set of doors, I think you're stuck there, bro. There you go. That isn't even a... Oh, you just went deeper. No, we're gonna do that. You can get out now. Uh, thing is, I use the first set of doors as an audio cue to tell myself, hey, there's a customer coming. I should get ready to greet them. The second set of doors, they kind of, block that sound. What is around anyway? That's not the right thing. I think it's J. I think it's J. That's it. I made a penis. Hell yeah. Yippee. So there's the rivers right there. I'm assuming this is gonna be a peninsula. Um, Peter, the horse is here. Um, this is honestly a pretty large village. But at the same time, I kind of want, I don't know. I want to go with something that's not in a plains biome, just to switch it up a little bit. I have a bed so I can sleep the night away, and I have a source of food, which are the, ooh, eggs. Don't mind if I do. I'll gladly take those. I can make a cake now. I'm just trying to find a good place to live, honestly. I'm gonna zoom out a little bit. Also, Croptopia doesn't have a good update for this update. There's some pumpkins. I think the first, like, couple days in hardcore, I always explore because it's like, wow, I need to explore and grab sugarcane. Grab all the sugarcane, because that's a good money maker. I like making money. Who wouldn't like making money? I am gonna go ahead and bop, bop, bop. Nope. Give me. Thank you. Get over here. Boink. You think you're safe? No, you ain't. No, you ain't. Just gotta do my job and terrorize the local cow population. That's all I gotta do. I think there's another redwood forest over there. That means that there's a lot of redwood over here. What if there's I don't think there would be any villages in it, but it'd be cool. Maybe they'd be like spruce villages or something. Like how the spruce villages. Whoa, what the hell? Is that a cotton candy plant? What is that? Pink flower. It's a flower. I'm gonna. That is. It's a tulip! Oh my gosh, wait. If I cut this down, will it drop, saplings? I don't think it does. I feel bad now. I was hoping. I was kind of hoping to, just gonna. I was really hoping that, it would work. What is this? Clover. Ooh. Can I pick it up? Can I pick any of these up? Apparently not. Now I'm sad. I just destroyed part of... There's more! Why am I going so slow? High grass? Is this why? Do I just go slower in high grass? Can I pick it up? I guess I need shears to do that. Holy cow, though. I want this. I really want... Oh my gosh, I'm wanting to pick this all up. I can't pick it up. Holy cow, though. This is cool. This is so cool. Oh, I can stand on these. This is actually really cool. I really like this biome. It's very hard to walk through, though. This is horrible to walk through. This is awful to walk through. But holy cow, there's tulips, there's... I think that's a rose? Why is there a rose? There's the torch flower, what the hell? I don't even need a sniffer to get that. That's an ancient flower that I just grabbed off the ground. Hell yeah, this place is growing ancient flowers. Let's go. I need some steak. Yum, yum, yum. What is this biome? It's like a little beach, but not a beach? It doesn't look like a beach. It is a beach. Bye. I see a dolphin approaching me on the map. Where are you? Hi there! I have Dolphin's Grace! What's on the beach? We have sea oats. Are you edible? I don't think you are. There's another flower. Oh, these biomes are hard to they're hard to difficult through. They're hard to go through though. They're overgrown greens. I almost just fell. Whoa. Oh, hey, Wandering Trader. What do you got? Open Eye Blossom. Orange Cosmos. Why is this Origin Grass Block? 4 baked potatoes for a... I would, but at the same time, it kind of seems funny just to... I forgot y'all hit. We're gonna grab your leads and run off. Bye-bye. Llama's mad at me? Thank you, KofiBot. Llama's mad at me? Nah. See, they're not even chasing after me anymore. It's fine. This would be an amazing biome to be in, but at the same time, it's so overgrown. Let me go. I want to go. There we go. It'd be cool to like learn how to regrow these, or at least regrow them at least. Cause that would be cool. Cause like, look at this. Look at this. This is so cool. It's very difficult to go through, so I'm just gonna go through like this and hope I don't... There's more torch flowers. Hope I don't die or anything while exploring. What kind of flowers are these? Pink daffodils. I'm gonna grab a wait, are there yellow or like purple ones? Are there any purple flowers? Let me go. Let me go. Let me go. I want to find... Oh my gosh, it's so... This is inconvenient to walk through. This is so inconvenient to walk through. Why is that, like... Dude, it's so slow. I am so slow in these. I think the only ones are pink daffodils, though. It's a tulip! Oh my gosh, it's like Tulip SMP. I miss Tulip SMP, honestly. I really miss Tulip. Like, I had a lot of fun on the SMP, and then I miss Bite SMP as well. What we need to get through. I'm getting out of this flower overgrown greens biome. We could... I was like, we could probably go into the ocean. No, it's a river. This is a river. This is what a river looks like. This is a very large river. I like that. I like this. This is honestly really nice. This is a really nice mod. Although, is it all redwood forests and all, the fir ones and the overgrown greens? I'm hoping there's different ones. It would be really nice if there was a different, like, if I can get spruce or dark oak at least. I wonder what's in the dark oak forest now. Step on up. Hi. What's up? We're exploring. We haven't found a place to have a base yet. Hope you have a fun stream. Thank you, Aaron. There's a pack of wolves right there. Oh, there's more fur. Where even are we? Oh my god. We circled around. We fucking circled around. Oh my gosh. I was like, I wonder where we are. This place looks kind of familiar. It's all fur and... Well, no wonder why. I wonder why. Oh my gosh, we went full circle. Okay, we're gonna pick this direction and we're just gonna go straight. Oh my gosh, I literally went full circle too. Step on up. Just gonna. Is that one of. No, it's a sheep. Okay. We're gonna keep going because we literally went in a whole entire circle. I was like, huh. There's nothing else over here. Probably because we're literally looking in the same exact area. What's past this area, though? This is honestly, I like this. I see a pig. My gosh, it's washing machine heart. Toss your dirty shoes in my wash. I see a village. Please do not be. Oh, it's not the same one either. Wearing my usual lipstick. I thought maybe we would kiss tonight. Baby, will you kiss me already? And hiccuping. I've been hiccuping all day. Oh, yes. A path if you were a goat. Those two are making out. Congratulations. Any chests I can look through? Nope. Not in there. I bet not in there either. There are mushrooms on top of the house. You are trying to get to your church, but you cannot get there. Bye, Sid. Have a good stream. Okay, have fun. Anything else? I can get some more apples. I'm not gonna get the dandelions. I'm sorry. Oh yes, there's an ocean, I think. Either an ocean or it's just more river. There are some very odd grass blocks spawning up there, bro. What is up there? What is up there? I want to go up there. Imagine if the trees that like the tree plants that I grabbed, like, imagine if they're just, oh, you have to have 4 of them. I have to have what? 4? I don't want to have 4 though. So I'm not gonna worry about that. Hey, you got a stone cutter there. Is it very nice? It's very nice. It's a very nice stone cutter. I like it. You got a brewing stand in you. I'm gonna grab it. Don't mind if I do, thank you. Don't mind me. Ooh, a piece of string. There's also, I think that's a horrible place to build your house, bro. You don't even have, you have a wooden house. You have a wooden house. Are you good? Do you have any carrots? Beetroots, wheat crops, potatoes, wheat. Ooh, I saw carrots. Yoink. Carrots. Carrot. Don't mind me, just gonna steal your carrots. Just a couple. You know, I'm just gonna start off my own farm. Probably somewhere, you know. There is a ruined nether portal over there, though. There's also some coal, so I could grab the coal. Whee! Just going into the water. There's also more coal. There's also some more coal. There's some copper. There's some more coal. Let's see what's in the nether portal. The abandoned one. This doesn't look too abandoned. Dude, I could light this if I had one more obsidian. Oh man. You got fire protection and you got blast protection. Okay, and you got efficiency 1. We can wear some armor. What's over here? I see. Is that a fancy birch forest? I think it is. Hell yeah. Birch forest. Ooh, wait. Is that lavender? There's purple. All I see is purple. I want to go to the purple. I'm going to the purple. There's a purple flower. Me likey. You are going to be all over my Jacaranda? You are going to be my new favorite. You are going to be my new favorite wood. I will gladly take all of you. Don't mind if I do. Whoa, there's some whoa. Tall lavender. There's a lot of lavender. That's a lot of lavender. I like it. There's some sprouts. Sprout from Dandy's World? Don't mind me. Wait, that creeper is underground. Okay, I was like, the creeper's approaching me. I hope the fuck not. Honestly, I feel like I'd like living in this area. Also, why isn't this dropping any saplings? I hope it drops saplings. I really want this tree. Like, I really want this tree. That's lavender. Could you perhaps, you know, drop your saplings? Let's try this one that's, you know, as a regular tree. Me like this tree. I like this tree a lot. Ad break? Oh my gosh. Are there any... Oh yeah, there is. Okay, I got a sapling. To be honest, I really like this. I really like this a lot. Oh, there's some more saplings. Okay. We can bring this to the village that we choose to live at. Dude, it's literally nighttime. Bush. It's literally nighttime. What do you mean? We like lavender. I wonder if the tall lavender has the same properties as the normal lavender anyways. It might. It honestly might. I could probably just take that and then make a whole bunch of lavender. Fun fact, I'm pretty sure that I'm allergic to lavender, by the way. I cannot, be- Ooh, there's iron. I have a full inventory, though. I'm not gonna worry about that. Um, but I feel like if... What was I saying? Oh my gosh, the wolf. Brain out the window. Um, honestly, I kind of want to find a desert, but not a desert. I don't want to find a desert, actually. I just want to find, like, I don't know. Got 30 sugarcane. I want to find a spruce. That's what I want to find, actually. Spruce. Do I have any more? I don't. I need to get more food. Cause pretty girls deserve to die. What if we... I keep on pressing T when I'm in Mean J. Um, what if we stay in kind of the middle of these two villages? Like, one of these villages can be for one thing, and then the other one can be for another, maybe? I feel like that would be cool, because this one's a little bit larger, but we can also, like, just stay on, like, say, this island right here. Maybe. I don't know. I'm very terrible at deciding where to live. Um... Oh, I can make bundles. Okay, that's actually, like... Uh... Well, this is like a weird UI to... Okay. That actually gave me a little bit more. That string came in handy. That string came in a lot of handy. Let's go this way. Let's try to explore around some more. I think, okay, so some of the goals that I kind of want for this hardcore world, at least, would be, get some bitches. I want to get some, I want to get a Happy Ghast. That's what I want to do. I feel like getting a Happy Ghast, and having it grow up would be a really cool little thing to do. I think that might be an ocean, so I think I'll just... red. There we go. You know, we could probably put, like, this in the bundle. We could probably put some of these in the bundle as well. Well, we could put 4 of them in there. You know, I died. So I tried playing a little bit of Minecraft. Like, I tried playing a little bit of vanilla Minecraft just randomly. Funniest way I've ever died in Minecraft, by the way. I tried to do a boat clutch, but then I forgot that boats, like... Whoa, 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 whoa. Is that a pumpkin patch? I gotta check this out. Hold up. This is an orchard. Orchard. Oh my gosh, that's a lot of pumpkins. I could actually probably, that's like that's the biggest words I've said. There's a jack-o'-lantern. Oh, I got 2. We're just gonna grab a couple of these. And then we're gonna be on our way again. Because we don't wanna have a lot of stuff. But yeah, I forgot that boats had collision damage. And I jumped right off a cliff onto the boat. I was like, oh my gosh, I'm an idiot. We are in an ocean. That is correct. We are in an ooh. Another one. Oh, is that? No, that's just a regular beehive. Because I added a couple more village, like, professions, and they should spawn some... Like, I think this guy's actually one. Because it spawns on its own. Yeah. There's 2 in there. There's 2 things in there. There's 2 villagers in there. Holy shit, we found one. Oh, it's a lumberjack? Are you a lumberjack? Holy cow, you're a lumberjack. Oh my gosh. So that way we can trade, like, sticks and stuff. I'd really like to have that axe, though. I'd really like to have that axe. And then inside, we've got the beekeeper who has his honey bottling station. And you have, like, honey, and you're selling... You have a double chested... Oh my gosh. Don't mind if I do, though. Why am I lagging? Oh wait, someone told me that the beekeeper apparently lags your game, like, so much. Are you the reason why I'm lagging? But I think this is 2 of the 4. Also, I just realized that these guys, they just... It literally makes a chunk. I'm going to live over here. I can have honey. I can technically get honey. This is going to be my place. The fuck? Oh my gosh, oh my gosh. I was like, what is going on? That's a drown with a trident. Oh my gosh. Yes, I'm okay. Yes, I'm okay. That was terrifying. Can I live with y'all? Yes, okay. I'm scared. This is scary. I am actually very scared. I can still hear it. I'm very scared. Hey, that's my furnace, man. What you doing with my furnace? I honestly don't even know how to get out of this. I'm not gonna lie. I don't know how to get out of this. I was like, oh, why did my boat break? There's a drowned with the trident. Is it still around? I think it is. I'm like actually scared to go. I think it's underneath. This is terrifying. This is actually terrifying. Like, I'm horrified. Oh gosh. What do we even do in this situation? Like, I can see it on the map. Oh, it's a little bee. I can hear it. I can hear it. I'm scared. Oh, they're watching the sunrise? No, they're going to sleep. Yeah, they're going to sleep. Yep, there they are. You know what? We're gonna be friends. We're gonna be besties. I can't sleep yet. I'm just gonna jump on the bed. I'm gonna push you into a wall. I'm gonna push you like I'm gonna push y'all like closer. And then you, there you go. You guys can be boyfriends. I mean, you guys have been living for like you guys have been living together for a while, you know. Aw, and then there we go. It's it's a sleepover. Yippee! We had a sleepover. Okay. I gotta escape. I gotta escape, like, quick. Like, really quickly. Okay. Where to go? Go, 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 go. I don't know if it's chasing or throwing its tridents at me. I think it might be. But we're gonna just go. And we're not gonna stop. We're actually gonna look around. There we go. I think we're far enough distance to be safe. Um, you have a leather worker. Yeah, that's gonna be a little bee house. You also have a trapped villager because you guys cannot maintain your trees. I will actually use this because this is kind of fast. And you guys have cows too. Oh my gosh, this tree is actually in the way of multiple people. So your handy dandy lumber person is here to save y'all from your own trees. What else is in here? I think, is that a ruined portal? No, that's not. That's just a tree. So, this is just a regular plains village, but don't mind if I do. Stop pushing me. I think I have... Oh yeah, those were... Dude, why are you pushing me? Bro, go. You wanted to push me, go to your workstation. Jeez. What is this about customer service? Is the tree completely cut down? I think it's actually, it is. It's just being stopped because it's touching the planks, or not the planks, the wood. So I gotta like stop it from touching the wood. The tree gonna start decaying. I'm helping y'all out, guys. I'm helping these villagers out. They don't know what to do. I think this is like a good area, actually. This is a good area to start my, like, house. Because it's, like, just right here, and then I can, like, make a little farm. I just gotta do a little test, ground survey, as some might call it. Just make sure that this ground is stable and worth building by. Once in a while, I don't know, this isn't a first. Let me be the boy you feel like taxidermy to my princess. I am quantum physics. My wingless brings to existence. Hell yeah. We are just gonna get some coal, cause coal is awesome. Boom. 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 You get 3 big booms. There's also a lot of andesite here. Oh, I thought it was the good stuff. I thought it was iron, bro. But no, copper has to be like iron. At this point, copper's just iron. To be honest, I'm hoping that I turn this into a video, like, some point soon, because this is gonna be, like, this is probably gonna be the first episode of the Minecraft Hardcore series. Because, you know, it's basically just like recording. Just people can watch you record. This feels like a Titanic moment. Like I feel like I could just go do 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 do. Wait, I gotta take my clothes off. Hold up. Gotta do 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 do. Ooh, iron! Don't mind if I do. I will gladly take that. I don't regret doing that. I was gonna make a bit and say, "Oh, I'm gonna regret doing that." No, I don't regret doing that anymore. Holy shit, I found iron. Ooh, I found more. I gotta, like, look around now. I gotta be like, there's actually iron here? Although I do have to be careful because I have no armor on. I need to put my armor on. Be normal. Normal all the way I couldn't be. Yeah. Come on and love me normally. Huh. Huh. That's a big cave. Ooh, that's a... How the fuck? Ooh, stop it. Bro. Bro, you just shot me in the arm. Ooh. Owie. That hurted. That hurted a lot. Okay. Rolling in my own grave, and I'd rather be normal. Okay, we got the crafting table. We have to have the furnace next to the crafting table. The crafting table? The crafting table. What else? We also... I'm thinking. What is that? That's a heavy core. What? Oh. There's things. I didn't know there was things in this. I want to find this. You can craft them? I didn't know you could craft them. Whoa. Oh, I can make purple ones. What is this? Oh, it's collapsed. It's just a spawn egg. There's a lot of... I don't even know what these are. That's what that is. That's the... So this means that there's a spider thing. Thank you, Ko-Fi Bot. Okay, what else what else can I make with these? What do the doors look? Ooh, they got glass. They got glass in them. There's also palm trees. Okay. Oh yeah, I could technically add Serene Seasons into this, but I wouldn't. I'm not gonna do that. There's also a green one. Oh, wait. I could put this and this together. I just need to find pine. Oh, yes. Bucket. That's... What is this? A bop. Bop. I'm looking around. I'm like, holy cow. Oh, yeah, we also got Travelers. And... Hold up. I need to find this. I need to find this wood. This looks cool. Imperial. I'm gonna look this up. Hold up, guys. I'm looking this up. I've never experienced this mod before, guys. I need to look this up. I need to see where to get this wood. Imperial. Watch this be the fucking, watch this be from like an end biome. Biomes o' plenty. Fuck! Fuck! In the End Wilds biome? No! Why are all the good things in the end? I've never beaten the Ender Dragon before. Dang it! Oh, what the hell? What the hell? Cheating? Dark theme? What? Oh shit. Where's my bed? There's my bed. I forgot the game doesn't pause. I was like, ooh, just looking around in here. Oh. How do you empty everything? That's how you empty that. I need to just... Oak planks. Okay, we're gonna have... We can start a storage wall right here. That's not how you start a storage wall. That's also not how you start a storage wall. There we go. Say this could be like food. And like food-like items. Oh yeah, I need to smelt that. I also need to get more iron. I want to find a pine forest. I really want to find a pine forest. That is now going to be my goal. Find a pine forest. It's green! I can have green and purple! Oh, the will in your hands. Oh, I'm gonna die. How many are apart right here? 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and I'll do that. So it's a little uneven. We gotta have some unevenness. Oh wait, I think I made it even. Because I think I didn't account for the fact that there's also, you know. So we kinda do gotta make it even. So we can start like with that. I honestly really like the look of this. I really like the look of this. This is nice. We're actually gonna take like half of it. Actually, we're gonna go a little bit larger. We got some design choices that we're gonna make. That this way it can actually we can have the wood like go around, I guess. What if we mix this with dark oak? That would actually be really nice. Your body, my temple, baby. Okay, so that way that should match up, and that way that should match up. Okay, they match up. Baby. This is so pretty. It's a pretty purple. It's a really pretty purple. I really like it. There we go. You always come back. I found purple wood. Though I think I might do like one of those elevated ones. I'm not gonna lie, I might do one of those elevated houses. Like, so this is like the base, and then like that's like that means that this is the floors. But I do need to find all my saplings. Oh my gosh. I put a bundle in a bundle. Wait, can you put like a bundle of things in a bundle? Can you like now we're onto something. Fuck, you can't. Okay. So what we're gonna do, I know, right? I know, right? It's not going sploinky. It's better. This always happens whenever I'm in a newer world. I need to plant these on like the whatchamacallit. Where did my map go? There we go. Okay, we're gonna find one of the village's farms. Does this village not have any farms? These fucking dumbasses. Oh my god. What is over here though? Oh, it's the fur. But some gold. Oh, hydrate and stretch. Oh. What? Bro's literally been trapped in there. Okay, hydrating right now. My hydration right now is blue Powerade. It's blue Powerade. They have blue Powerade at my local Winco for 48 cents a pop. And stretch. Oh my god, my bone just cracked. Damn it, I can't hear it anymore. I still messed it up. Dude, do you want out? There you go, you're free. You're free to go now. How do you feel about that? Oh yeah, I have a hoe. We can use this to grab hay more efficiently. We have a hay collector. I like how I was gonna start like with making my house immediately, but then I got sidetracked. This village does not have a farm. This village has no farm. You're a farm, but at the same time, you don't have like farmland. Why do you not have any? Oh my gosh, you don't. Why do you have a whole bunch of hay, but you don't have any fields? I'm so confused. Ad break in 30 seconds. Oh my gosh, watch it. Give me money. That's so confusing. I'm gonna collect all of your hay, by the way. I'm also gonna build y'all a farm one day. I'm going to build you guys a farm. I was like, oh, I'm gonna harvest your stuff from your farm. How did that stay like that when there was a hay block on top of it? But did you see that? You know what? I'm gonna make it to where only I can hear it again. Properties. Dum. There we go. Now you can do it to jump scare me. Ooh, wait, this is library one. There's no villagers in here. So we can literally just pop. There's nothing else in here except for the books. So now we have some books for bookcase. Wait, I need the doors. There we go. Wow. Go subscribe to my YouTube channel. Come on, get up. Oh, there is some magma down there. Why are you just floating? Who don't wanna be human? I'm gonna set this off. That didn't set that off. There's that. Gotta do my job in helping the local ecosystem. What is in this cave right here? I'm gonna try my best to grab this iron. Let me grab the iron. I just need, like, some more iron. And these types of caves are the best way to get it. Is there any more iron? Not that I'm seeing. Ooh, iron! Too weird to love, too scared to die. There isn't a accessible way up. Never mind, I just found one I'm going back to. The village that's here. Yippee yippee. Okay, yeah. I think I'm gonna make a little farm, like, in the middle over there. Just not now. I need to build myself a little starter home. You know, we could just move these around a little bit. Make it to where we're sleeping there and then have these on this side. So that we're gonna sleep kind of next to our chest wall. You know, if those fall, like, we're probably screwed a little bit. I'm actually gonna make, like, some of these. No, you don't. Go find your own bed. Go find your own bed. You ain't sleeping in mine. Get out of my house, please. Yeah, you're not sleeping there. You are unemployed. I don't I don't take any more unemployed people in my house. I already learned a big lesson from that. Jeez. Almost had a house guest. An unwanted one. Yay, I thought that cat was standing on that pig for a second. Man, I love these trees. They're so pretty. Oh, I love these. Cherry blossom? Nah. I don't know how to spell that. Or not how to spell it. I don't know how to say that. Jacaranda. Jacaranda. Oh, my axe. Oh, man. Should get the logger mod where you can just crouch and then like it'll take all that wood. That's not the right thing. What was I doing? That's what I was doing. I'm getting iron. Because I can probably make a shield and a pickaxe. Either that or like a sword and a pickaxe. I feel like that would be another good idea. Okay, we're gonna start slowly replanting these, because why not? I don't know the requirements for planting those, but it can't be that hard. It can't be that hard. This is gonna be very expensive, but I kind of want to do like the. I forgot to grab. My gosh, we acquired hardware. We're gonna get a pick. You can craft saddle. Oh my gosh. That's so strange to see. That is so strange to see. Where's my redwood? Wait, I think I used that all actually. So like, I wonder what it. Gosh, I need an axe. We're making another stone axe. Okay, what does this look like? I'm just gonna. Okay. If I taste you, will we know if love kills or makes you whole? Tears you open, tastes you whole. That's very bright. What if we switch things around and make it to where these ones are standing up and these ones are down? And then like later on we can probably switch it to green? Maybe. That could be a possibility. Do we have any more saplings? We do! We have a lot more saplings. One of us is going to need to die. I have the thing you love. So like we could have it like that, and then all the inside ones like this are stripped. But that's going to be temporary until we find pine, because pine is green, and it's actually really pretty green. There's a cave underneath the village. Okay, there's nothing in here anymore, so we could just do that. We need bone meal. We need bone meal kind of badly. Side up. Side up, side up. Right? Upside, 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 yep. Up. Are you gonna have a sapling? No. Are you gonna have a sapling? No. We have a shovel. Why aren't we getting dirt from here? This is just a random hill. We can just take it from there. I know it's a gold shovel, but it's still a shovel. We can still, like... We can still grab things from it. Just do a tiny bit of terraforming before it breaks. Yeah, and then one of these can just be used to fill that. So we have 31. And we can just use that as like a little thing to make a little tree farm. I don't know what I'm doing. I really don't know what I'm doing. Oh my gosh. Why am I digging? I could just build right on top of this. That looks like shit, actually. Never mind. Don't ever listen to me again whenever I said we could build it. We could build on top of this. Just to be safe, we're gonna put 3. We're gonna put them 3 apart. 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. I'm not gonna do there. 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah. Awesome grid skills. Salt on the glass, coke on the knife. Is there anything to prove? Sign. I didn't sign up for this. We can have a fir in the corner. See if that actually grows. Oh, there's another grown tree over there. I'm gonna run out of time. But I'll tell you what, I'm not afraid to die. I'm more afraid of what might happen first. Do they have the same spawn? Oh, they have the same growing mechanics as the oak trees. Ugh. That sucks. That sucks a lot. I really hope I get everything. Still sing along. Still sing along, long time. Ooh, there's so many. We keep looking for nothing to find. They say keep trucking, it's all in your mind. Jimmy, you're fired. Not fired. Jimmy's not fired, guys. Jimmy is not fired. But I'll tell you not. Jimmy is not fired. You can be relieved. Jimmy has not been fired. I think there might be some more hidden up here. There are. Is it gonna start decomposing? A body has been discovered. Oh yeah, there's another Danganronpa coming out. side up, 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 side. Bro, get the fuck away from my bed. Don't do it. Anyways, I swear if one of you guys start even thinking of going to my bed, I swear I will scream at you. Can I go to sleep now? Can I go to sleep now? Thank you. I wonder how much of a delay is there? Like, whoever's watching, how much of a delay is there right now? Like, is there just, like, a massive delay and then, like, y'all can't understand what I'm saying? Like, in time that I'm saying it? Or is there just, like, you know, just a tiny itty-bitty delay? Oh, it's one of those! Star used to be, oh my. Is it finally starting to break? I think there might be some up there. I really... Did you just fucking... decompose in front of me? There's more! It's all tree. Guys, how do you like my treehouse? There's my entrance. There's my... Here's the tunnel to my room. Here's my room. Oh, I don't have a room anymore. It's kind of, you know, going away. Oh, there's another tree. Oh. Any more? I don't think so. It's starting to kind of go by a little bit faster. Oh my. Yo, we got a lot. We got a lot of these. I wonder if I can make like a big tree. I want to make a big tree with these. Or like a tree wall. I feel like that would be kind of funny. Just make it. That's not a tree wall. Oh hey, one of them are growing already. Tree. Let's see if this works. It will be a while, but it will be worth it. Oh, ashes, ashes, dust to dust. The devil's after both of us. Lay my curses out to rest. Make a mercy out of me. I think there's another one inside of here. Motherfucker. Maybe not. No, it's actually just being very slow at decomposing. A body has been discovered. We're making our floors. That's not the right tool. Okay, we gotta make the chest wall again with the food. There we go. What coyotes? Whoa, okay, so they're all starting to grow now. Yay. I gotta get some We're gonna try growing some redwood as well. I want to see if the tree wall works. I'm a snot-nosed spothead playing with matches. Now, is the Enderman up here or is it down there? I think it's down there. I think it's underneath me. I have an Underman. I have an Underman, guys. It's just a underneath Enderman. Chemical reaction. I really hope the other trees grow, and not just this one. I really hope the other trees grow. I really want some more redwood. Any other... Damn, we're starting to get a lot of, we need another chest. Oh wait, we do have enough for the rest of the floor. Let's go! Boop, 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 boop. Fuck! Okay, focus. Thank you, Ko-Fi Bot. We love Ko-Fi Bot. Okay, one of them is grown, so that means that they can grow next to each other. I want to see the others grow, though. Why are you still not composted? Is there still another one hidden in here? Somehow hidden in here? Oh, there is. This is why I hate the big ones. This is why I hate the big ones so much. Because now, look at this. It's all going. Just another day, throw your cares away. With me. The hell? I'm gonna replace some of these with some oak. Yummy. What are those over there? I got no clue. I'm gonna look. I'm gonna explore some more. Oh wait, I need to put like I need to make a beacon. Or not beacon. A waypoint home. Because we have, since we have the map, we have home. We have home. Submit. Save. And now we have home. I like how I chose to live in a stony shore. Because why not? Is it already going down? It is. I want a pine forest. I really want a pine forest. Are you a pine forest? I don't know. It looks like it might be a redwood forest. I don't want it to be a redwood forest. Please don't be a redwood forest, although I see some iron. I will grab that iron because iron is really good. And good is iron. And Because we need some iron. Please have some iron. Oh shit. I'm just gonna put everything in here. Hell yeah. I need to go back home because it's getting dark. Never mind, guys. What is this anyways? Goldenrod. I'll show you my goldenrod. Okay, I'm not going in there anyways. It's fine. Is there any more iron on my island? Oh no, I can't get up. What do I do? I like how my Dandy's World streams are just like chaos, and then my Minecraft streams are just like, yeah, we're chill. We're chill now. Hmm. I wonder if I use Deep Slate, would that also look good? Are you a pine tree? I wonder if that's pine or fir. I think it's fir. Because that's a fir log. These are all fir logs. I don't want fur on my log. She fur on my log till I tree. Dude, what the hell? Oh my gosh. All of y'all. What the hell? Why is there so much grass under there? Is it because an Enderman decided to pick up a grass block and then put it down here and so all the grass grew? Okay, y'all need out. Fuck. I might have accidentally fucked up. That's... oh shit. Hey there, buddies. We're just gonna zoom in, make sure that they're not, you know. Dude, why did you get it? Wait. Are you upset about... are you upset at me? I'm scared. I'm very scared. I'm actually scared. Come on, guys. File out. Come on. Where's the rest of y'all? Did y'all file? Y'all have not filed out. Dude, I'm scared of this iron golem. Oh my gosh. Are there any more iron golems? I don't think so. It's so scary. Okay, well, two have grown. Well, I'm hoping they're not all the big boys. So we're just gonna ruin any chance of that happening. I don't see any. I think the fur ones need to be like a 4x4. Oh, you fucker. You just proved me wrong right whenever I said that. I think the redwood ones then need to be a 4x4. Asshole. Oh, there goes my second axe. Yay. Well, I should probably replant these. Yay. Okay. Yay. I think we're just gonna put everything in here. 'Cause, yeah. Oh my gosh, this is so annoying. Oh my gosh. You can't just drag. Your blood, so I apologize when you turned doing cold. Blood, did they want your blood? So don't apologize when you're doing cold. Make a sword. Do you know the Muffin Man? The Muffin Man? The Muffin Man! We can make a bunch of bread. That's only 21 bread, bro. That's only 21 bread. What do you mean that's 21? 21? Okay, fine, I guess. Okay. We probably should have made a bucket. Oh well, it's fine. Because y'all need a farm. Y'all need a farm badly. Even though I'm about to lock all of y'all in your homes. So that you don't die. Because I need to make a wall. Okay. Then that'll be that. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then that. Yay! This is gonna be a really big one. I forgot to make an axe. Had enough power since blackout started for an EKG for the broken-hearted. I try to see the glass as half full, but I'd probably just drink that too. Why is my voice cracking so much? I did not mean to make a fucking fuck. Oh my gosh. I was looking at the pickaxe and I made a pickaxe. I'm gonna actually cry. So if you see me, please take my keys. I don't wanna be an organ donor. We've had enough power since the blackout started. For an EKG for the broken-hearted. I try to see the glass as half full, but I'd probably just drink that too. We're just gonna start planting those over here. We need more oak. Well, I'm going down and I'm taking you with me, yeah. I'm bringing the water to the horse. So bring me the hair of the dog that bit me, yeah. So I can clone it and have a little more. I get paid tomorrow. I am so happy because I'm not going to be in the negatives anymore. Well, we've had enough power since the blackout started. 40 kj for the broken-hearted. I try to see the glass as half full. Even it's empty, half full. I try to see glasses half full. But I'd probably just... Probably just drink that too. Beer on the wall, 98 bottles here. I think this is good. That's not the right way. What are y'all? Why are y'all like swerve like that, bro? Oh my gosh, a creeper! Oh no! Oh man, where did you come from? The fuck? Do 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 do. Did one of the redwood trees finally grow? No, they didn't. I think these ones actually do have to be in a 4x4. Fine. Even when I'm pissed about it. Okay. I'm gonna cut this down as well. We're not getting that the normal way, though. I tried tapping on that to see if it would show the the other one. Not the original, because I thought that was like the Twitch censorship one. Did you get censored by Twitch? You might be eligible for a class action lawsuit. Dude, why is that one villager going to my bed? Bro, get out of my house. Oh my gosh, they proved me wrong again. Oh, it censored the clip? It censored the... Wait, what clip? It censored the clip. Oh, wait, did you clip me? Did you clip it? Oh gosh, what did you clip? What did I say that was clip worthy? What was clip worthy that I said? Oh gosh. Jesus fucking tree. Is it in clips and highlights in the server? I don't know, you tell me. I'm scared. What did you clip? Did you loot? Did you just what? Is what you yes? Did you whatever you I guess? The stalking horse. Was I the guy? In which the pony was a phony, was a lie. You say. You say what you weigh. I don't fucking know the lyrics. Is the day. Oh gosh, oh gosh. Let me open this. The sheep knows things. Oh gosh. It's because the sheep just suddenly, it literally just, it suddenly appeared. Bro, literally appeared. Like, those villagers literally went towards me. They ran at me, and then suddenly The sheep was there. The sheep was there. In the clip, of course, you can see it walking up, but I didn't see it walking up. And suddenly, sheep. Beep, beep, I'm a sheep. I said beep, beep, I'm a sheep. Beep, beep, I'm a sheep. I said beep, beep, I'm a sheep. Gimme, thank you. Beep, beep, I'm a sheep. Let's just grab that. Let's go back to the farm. Let's go to the farm. Let's finish this part. I have 2 raw iron. I need to go strip mining, but that's so boring during stream. It's so boring during stream. I don't like strip mining on stream. But then whenever I come back after strip mining, like, off stream, it's like, huh. Well, I did some off-camera mining. It's that meme. Don't worry, yeah, I did some off-camera mining. I got like 100 diamonds, bro. You could break a shovel when you break new ground. You dig dirt up when you dig deep down. You should know better than that by now. It's not profound to know that you can never know. Wow, wow, wow. I wonder if anybody got the trees disproving or proving me wrong again. Actually, just make this into my mine. You are going to be my mine. Yes. Become my mine. Minecraft. And I wake in the morning and get out of bed. Gotta get to the bottom of this. I gotta get to the bottom of this, guys. Guys, I gotta get to the bottom. Was I really 1 torch short? Obsidian talking to the voices again. Yeah. Hell yeah, we love the voices. Ooh. Shalala. Are you fucking kidding me? I cannot believe I dug into a cave. I do not. Why? Why did that sound like? Why did that first part sound like the da 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 like that one? What the hell? Ugh. I don't sense. Oh my gosh. Brother. Oh my gosh, why is there so many? Well, at least there's iron. Oh, hey, what's up, spider? Are you in a friendly state, or are you in the I'm gonna kill you state? You're probably in the I'm gonna kill you state. That includes me. I'm a projection of your mind. I'm not even real. Oh no. El Macaco's not real. Why didn't anyone tell me? Dude. Dude, what the hell? This is literally right underneath my home. This is my home. I could have a basement. I could have a massive basement. Haha, my basement is bigger than yours. Oh, hey, what's up, Enderman? We're just gonna, you know, we're gonna cover you up. You know? How do you like that? How do you like them apples? You're becoming a part of the underground. This is an Undertale basement, like the one you already have with all the people inside. Yeah, they're still screaming at me. They just want the metal pipe back. I'm not gonna give it to them until, you know, we get our sub goal. So if you want the metal pipe, then you gotta get the sub goal. There are 2 creepers over there. That zombie already sees me. He just spawned. What the fuck, dude? Well, here's the Monster Hunter achievement. Oh my gosh. Monster Hunter. I hunt monsters. I am not gonna deal with that skeleton. He just woke up and chose violence. Literally. He just got an ounce of, like, sense of where he was and was like, I'm gonna immediately kill somebody. You. I have enough iron to make a bucket. Oh, hey, what's up? Are you friendly? You're definitely not coming at me like you're friendly. Okay, dude. Fuck you, too. Jeez. Spiders, am I right? There's been this one spider that has been just chilling in my room for, like, a couple months. He's chill. It's a little jumping spider, but it's, like, a different type of jumping spider, I guess. Because it's not the normal one that we see. Oh my gosh. Perfect timing. I just killed one of those guys. This is literally my entire... This is going to be my basement. It's even got a stalagmite and a stalactite. Stalactite. That sounds like it's such a weird word to say. You know what? I can make this a farm. I could legitimately make this a farm. It's got water. It's got a monster spawner. Oh, it's a spider. It's a spider spawner. Infinite string? String farm underneath my base? I need to disable it as fast as I can. Fuck. We have disabled it. We have a golden apple. We have bones. We have gunpowder. We have some more coal. We have some redstone too, and a bread. This could literally just be a good farm. We have farm stuff. We legitimately have the ability to make a farm back here. There we go, that all should dry up now. I think that's an Enderman. And then... Yeah, we could legitimately just survive underground, be a tunnel rat again. Like on Tulip. I was a tunnel rat in Tulip. We could be a tunnel rat. You know what? I can just destroy the house that I have underneath, and this entire area could be my house. Try to breathe underwater, driving with my darling, faster than I should. You should probably move. Thank you. There you go. Be buried. You are buried. Yeah, this is literally going to be my house. I'm not gonna lie. This is going to be my house. Like, it's gonna be all decorated and whatnot, but this shit is gonna be my house. We are going back to our old ways and being a tunnel rat. This is the way. Cause look how nice this area is, too. Like, it's such a nice area. It's so spacious, it's so big. It looks like somebody already dug out from it. Like, just to make it their own little hidey home. And you have water, you have grass in here somehow. Like, perfect. Yeah. Applause. It's perfect. Also, how much of a delay do I have anyways? And we have a bat. We have our own little pet bat. I fucking hate how they look now, by the way. I don't like that. Dude, what the fuck are you doing, bro? Bro. Wait, obsidian. What? What? Basement echo check. Echo! You're gay! Echo! You're gay! You're gay! Don't forget to join the Discord! Dude, I could literally just I could live underground. I can bring the villagers that wanted to go underground earlier. I could bring them down here. I could make an underground village. Thank you, Coffee Bot. One of the echoes went strange. I know, right? One of those echoes were a little sussy among us. You know, I was at work earlier and I was trying to talk to a customer and I would not stop hiccuping. Quack. This is a good house area. Although I still am going to cover up this area because I don't trust it. Oh, hey, there's one of an Enderman. What's up, dude? Where's the iron? Oh, there it is. I just got a bridge, not bridge, but I got a pillar up right here. Give me that iron, I want that iron. I'll have that iron, I have some iron. Oh, is that a negative Slenderman? Is it? Is? I don't know, man. Where'd he go? I think he's right there. It's an inverted Slenderman. Except he doesn't do what he does. It's strange. It's a stranger. I can't believe we... That's wild. I can't believe we have a fucking spider spawner here, too. Like, bro. That's awesome. We have an infinite way of string, meaning if we get, like... If we use one where... Iron golems. Literally. What if we get one, like, where, like, iron golems get it? Like, what is that moving over there? It's a bat. That's a bat out of hell. Yeah, and emeralds because you can sell string to the fisherman villager. What's back here? This is this is a massive cave. I love it. We're going back to our old ways of caving everywhere. You should have been there with the whenever I was in the Tulip SMP like stage. Oh my gosh, that shit was amazing because I literally tunneled everywhere. And I think it's been long enough that I can actually say this, but I ended up tunneling like so far. Um like there was this place called Pizza Hut or Pizza Nut Plaza because we kept on changing the H to an N. Um but like we ended up or I ended up tunneling so far into the iron where one of the other members was like, "Hey, Obsidian, um be careful where you're tunneling. There is a big lore spot like right there where you're tunneling." And I was like, "Oh. Oh." And I was like, "Can you show me the lore spot so I know where not to tunnel?" But yeah, but I think it's been long enough since the SMP's closed now that I can actually say that. Because it was fucking hilarious. Because we were just talking and like they were like, "Hey, by the way, you're tunneling." Like I tunneled like 5,000 blocks away. Because I just switched. I like whoosh. I like threw my mouse across my desk. But yeah, I was just tunneling everywhere. Is there any under here? No. This could be like a little sauna. We got a little sauna in here, guys. Yeah, it's right here, dies. I thought I ate. Eat more. And I need to get up there to check if there's iron and some other stuff up there. But at the same time, I don't wanna. I just wanna get every single piece of coal. Why do I respect projections? There's also lichen. Fuck! There's no more lichen. I forgot what can and can't be broken, like, normally. That sucks. Teach me to make moonshine, and we'll get drunk on the spirits of the air. Only 2 of these trees grow. Aww. So yeah, that means that this is just gonna be like a fake house then. We're just gonna... Where's our axe? There's our axe. We actually have enough to make a iron pickaxe, so we can just do that. The question is, spiral stairs or straight stairs? To where? It depends where to. Fancy house that with the stairs that you barely use? Spiral. Normally, straight. Unless if it's a tall, elegant tower with big spiral stairs instead of the small spiral stairs. We can watch it up there. We can watch. I'm pointing at the screen like you can see my hands and see through my eyes. We're just watching. Just imagine if I'm pointing at the top of the screen. I need to make a little pointer, like a pointing thingy that I can just move around my stream screen. We can make... Ooh, wait, we can also make that. That's also really helpful. Egg. Hell yeah. We already have one of those. We can make one of those. Woodwork log. We already have Buddy over there. UIT back. Do you have a way to bring it back? Oh wait, we have egg. We have egg. We have egg. Oh. Oh shit. Oh god, no. Oh no. Oh no. Bro got silenced. Oh gosh, that's so many deleted messages. You're still okay, View. You're still alive. We have eggs. Oh, it happened again. Egg, 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 egg. We have egg, we have egg, we have egg. We have egg. My eggs! My eggs! My eggs! I just threw my eggs! Oh? What about 8? Maybe 8? Nine? Is it 10? Oh, is it 10? We're just testing the we're testing the timeout. Let's try 10. Good luck, soldier. Soldier boy. Oh, it's 10. It's 10. Oh, it's 10. It's 10. Oh my gosh. Yup, it's 10. This village is gonna be a cool, awesome village, like, on the outside, but then, like, on the inside, like, in the, on the underground, it's gonna be, like, we're all mole people. This is gonna be the lore of the village. This village is run by mole people. Because why not? I need to make a bucket. What are you doing? Is that the same sheep? Hello, dude. Hello. Hello there. Wait. Wait. They don't love you like I love you. Sheep. Beep, beep, I'm a sheep. I said beep, beep, I'm a sheep. Beep, beep, I'm a sheep. I said beep, beep, I'm a sheep. Beep, beep, I'm a sheep. I said beep, beep, I'm a sheep. Hello again, friend of... I'm, like, singing that way too early, too. There we go, and then we need to make our bucket. Is there a crafting table in here? No. Y'all are all just working. Y'all having fun. Doot, doot. faster just go down here and get water. Because we have an actual staircase. Hello again, friend of a friend, I knew you were. Our common goal was waiting for the world to end. Now that... Oh my gosh, what was that? Ow. What was that, like, voice crack? Oh, there's my boat. There's my boat from where I found this place. I still can send me my love on a wire. Lift you up every time, everyone. It's the way. It's a... Oh. Okay, farmers. You guys are gonna have an awesome, epic, large farm. Can you hoe underground? No, you cannot. Not underground. Underwater? Got balls of steel, got an automobile for a minimum wage. Got real estate, I'm buying it all up in outer space. Now that the truth is just a rule that you can bend, you crack the whip, shape-shifting trick, the past again. Send you my love on a wire, lift you up every time, everyone, ooh, pulls away, ooh, it's a mechanical wire, not a fun, from anyone, everyone wants to run away, ooh, from you. Ooh, I think it's all it is. Oi, what are you doing by my bed? No. I'll break this shit. Now both of us won't be able to use it. Alright, let's make another one. We need some plants to put in here. Boing, boing, boing. And some wheat. The three best crops to use are wheat, carrots, and potatoes. Well, I really do want to just check to see what trades you have. Okay, you've got a pretty good trade. I really wish I could lock it in immediately. Okay. Oh wait, actually. And then this side's gonna be carrots. Ooh, she's got the eyes of a snake. I'll have both of them do carrots. That's what I'll do. Yeah, I'll have both of you guys have carrots. Let's go on. I woke up in the name that I wore last night to the sound of an empty bed. And it's ringing in my ears just like sweet nothings from the voices in my head. Where do you get up being so goddamn beautiful? Oh Lord, don't ask me what I mean. I'm gonna turn this into bone meal and then I'm just gonna get some more carrots just so I don't. Anesthesiologist, please put me under. Wonder how I woke up in the middle of my surgery. Didn't much then botch my heart. Worst thing that it could have been to end if it doesn't start. I need to make some stairs really quickly. Oh Lord, don't ask me what I mean. Where do I get off? Where do I get off? Hey, yo. Whoa, bro. That's a little close. I'll never know. I'll never know. I'll never know what it's like. What it's like to love you. I'll never know. I'll never know. I'll never know. I'll never know what it's like. What it's like to love you. Oh Lord. I'm gonna put it in this house. Can you not get down from there? You've been up there for like forever, since like, oh my god, you couldn't. You get broken on your own house. Damn, someone's like doing burnouts or something. You get up being so goddamn beautiful. Oh Lord, I'm bluer than my balls. Where do you get up being so goddamn beautiful? Oh Lord, just say that it's on me. Oh, that's not what I was supposed to do. Oopsie daisies. Oh my gosh. Can I not? There we go. And we only skipped one. Yippee! Let's go into my very safe cave here and dig around. We're gonna dig around you. This is the load-bearing pole. Slay! Am I bad? Am I really that bad? And now we're singing, ooh, what do you think of me? If you were in my shoes, you'd walk the same damn miles I do. I'm only tuning to the tone of a bell curve now. Ask not for plummet tones. But with my head up in the clouds, I can see so much ground. And from here, y'all look like ants in a... Was that a fucking stair? Oh my gosh, it was. Oh my gosh, it's exactly 18. I have 58. Yippee. Ooh, good to take a look at me. I'm gonna quietly just harvest that for you and then just grab some potatoes. Here you go. Here's some potatoes. Now I have my own potatoes. Hello. You got clay. 18. That's how old I was last year. Hell yeah. Oh, there's a... Wait, there wasn't. What the fuck? How many durability? You have 1 durability, bro. I had enough for 1 mistake. What do I want to break my... Oh, I don't have any more iron to replace that. I'm poor in iron. Oh my gosh, it's looking a lot more lively over here now. Finally. Am I bad? Am I really that bad? Where's the golem? Bro, I think this one's just been stuck for like a really fucking long time. And they just have not had the heart to like summon a new one. I had to. Oh. Oh. Oh, he dropped 2 poppies. And he dropped like 3 iron too. That's like a lot of iron. So we're gonna ignore the fact that I just did that. This time maybe don't spawn your iron golem over here. Oh, it literally leads to my house. How cool. I can drink your blood if you let me, baby, hang from you. You didn't hear anything, you didn't hear anything. You didn't hear anything, and you didn't hear anything. Same with you. Okay, they didn't hear anything, that's good. Let's go. Living just enough to beg you, pretty boy, please let me die. Did they summon another one in that same fucking air? Oh my god, I think they did. Oh, phew, they didn't. Hi there, buddy. Do you want a poppy from, you know, your best friend that might have died? There you go. Done with it, sweetheart. You still picking at that? Only ate the good part. Check, please. You ain't getting this. You are not getting this. I am running away with my bed. Like, damn, why are you trying to do that, bro? Oh, are you kidding me? Oh, wow, there's a creeper under here. Oh my gosh. The whole world is done for. You can't even say it. Yes, to err is human, so don't be one. This was a mistake, I'll take my leave. But before I go, you know, if you see a little black bag with a toe tag, please. Okay, there's our... I don't even know why I did that. Like, I won't respawn. Oh, fuck you too. Fuck you, yellow quagmire. I don't think I read their name right, but I think that might have been a lot funnier. Woo, I almost just ran into there. You know, I think... I call him Yellow Quagmire. We do not have our torches. We need to get more torches. We need to make a lot of torches, because there's probably a lot of stuff hidden in there. So, we're going to make a whole bunch of torches. I saw a house apartment with myself life. A cruising with my bruise in my mind. Nothing to find. That's not the right thing. That is. Here we go. I think that's enough torches. You settle and loose. Well, the evidence supports the truth. Is 80 enough proof for you? I thought F would do that. I thought you could do it by like that. This is scary. There's literally nothing down here. Besides some coal. We're gonna grab that coal though. Captain, will you go down? Float your boat, go overboard and hope it won't drown. Tell me what prevented you from going town to town all alone. Because we know you're not afraid. I like how I was just gonna mine, I was gonna try to find more iron, and what I did instead was just this. I think they might go to hell. You said let it loose, but now you lied. Well, we tried that tonight. Well, is 80 oh, if the truth is 80 enough proof for you? You're still a lady and I'm coming inside. Drink to me, baby, oh, what's left, oh, what's right. It's easier to use and lose than ever. Oh my gosh, there's water. I'm getting waterboarded, guys. Tee. Damn. Oh. That's where it's coming from. Should we do another river transformation? Or should we not? I don't think we should. It's probably not a good idea. Because we could. Because just because we could doesn't mean we should. And you better learn how, because it's your turn now. Well, you suck. Do. You want to talk about sex, but we're not allowed. Well, you may not learn. But it's your turn now. How vile can you be? It's easier to use and lose and never to have used you on a fucked up Saturday night. It'd be cool if we had like a packed gravel that wasn't just concrete. Like you could just like do like packed gravel and it just stays and doesn't have a property where it just, you know, fucking falls everywhere. Just call for morals. That is dangerous. You know, that could have hit me on the head. Then the moral last call for morals, better cover your drink. Good times on Front Street. We're just grabbing all the coal that I find. This is cool. So cool. So cool. So cool. So cool. So cool. Sans. Shut the fuck up, Sans. I just realized that my papyrus voice is like one step away from like, Sans, what the fuck are you? Like to like Ohana means family. Sans, what the fuck are you doing? Sans, what the fuck are you doing? It's like that. Bro, I was such a Sans fangirl. Holy shit. Like, bro. I was such a Sans fangirl whenever I was little. Not little, but like more like a teenager. Small child teenager, but yeah. Tween? And then I learned what Amino was, and it's like, bro, what was I on? Who had you was? Ah, yes, you would. It was Catastro. Catastro. Oh, it's raining. Oh my gosh. Whatever you, I guess. The stalking horse. Besides that guy. The pony was a phony, was a lie. Yes. This is like a little hidey hole. Ooh, wait, there's a cave over there. I want to go to the cave over there. It was catastrophe feeling good. As if the drag that has you are is in the bag that you drag behind your car. It's kind of spooky. Do 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 dun 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 dun. For couldn't look you in the eyes. You're just like an angel. Your skin makes me cry. Oh, this is where I almost died earlier. Because that one skeleton was shooting at me. You're so special. You're so fucking special. Because I'm a creep. I'm a weirdo. What the hell am I doing here? I don't belong here. I don't care if it hurts. I wanna have control. I want a perfect body. And a matching soul. Notice. So fucking special. So special. I'm a creep. I'm a weirdo. What the hell am I doing here? I don't belong here. Do 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 These are just dead ends. Never you want. You're so fucking special. Waitress, can I have this special, please? Cause I'm a creep. I'm a weirdo. What the hell am I doing here? I don't belong here. I'm a creep. I'm a nut job. What the hell am I doing here? I don't belong here. Here. Do, 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 do. Starting to be night. Oh yeah, I remember. We can go to sleep at 10:30. 8:29, 30. Just like that. Oh my gosh, chat. We just did that. Holy shit. We just did that. Let's see how their farm's going along. See if they have anything else in their inventories that like actually shows that they're continuing their farm. Do they just wanna Is that all they want to plant is just wheat? I think they do. Oh, who jumped on the fucking crops? Did they do it on this side too? Oh my gosh, they did. That means that these just need to be moved, which means that they're gonna lose their jobs and then get their jobs again. Oh, how I go, how I go, how I go. Ask me a question, the answer I know. With the palms in the pros, you bear a striking resemblance. You appear familiar, dear. You look just like my bathroom mirror. Please, policeman, no, you'll go. Oh, please let me go. Please, policeman, is it a test? I won't know till I'm under arrest. Let's check on the couple real quick. I want to make sure that they're okay. Like they, ow. I don't know if they're okay or not. I hope they are. Oh. Please don't be the one with the trident. Are you the one with the trident? I don't know. But you're still here. You guys are still okay. Hey, what's up, guys? What's up? You bear a striking resemblance. Hi, guys. You guys are awesome. You know that? I am never touching that beetroot stew. I think that's a fir forest. Thank you, Ko-Fi Bot. I don't know if I forgot to do that earlier or not. I might have. Am I being detained? Am I under arrest? Read me my rights, please. I want my phone call. Please, policeman, no wheel to tow. Oh, please let me go. Please, policeman, is it a test? I won't know till I'm please, policeman, no wheel to tow. Okay, which way? Okay, we haven't been any of these places, but we live, like, we haven't been this way. I have the waypoint. I just need some more food. We have 2 wheat. We can start breeding those cows. And I don't know if I don't know if it's actually, like... Yeah, I think it is. Unless if that might be... Maybe? Because we know this is here. And so we can just go like this. And now we have another achievement. The parrots and the bats. We can make it that. We can make one of those. And we can make... We already have a bucket. I think we need a... We actually need a, iron pickaxe. Another one. Another day. Hey, hey, why won't you come play with me? I'll take you to the other side. I mean, we do have a lot of hay. I forgot how to make a backpack, though. I missed that. I'm gonna ignore that, though. Because we need enough iron. What day are we even at? This is day 13? Oh my gosh. Oh, I forgot about that. What even? What can we make with copper? With copper. Why won't you come play with me? Take me to the... What is this? Tanning rack. Suspicious stew. Oh, you can make it with a... That? Why are there two things at TNT? That's concerning. So for a backpack though, we need a piece of string, 4 leather, a chest, and a sleeping bag. That's not that hard, actually. That's not that hard at all. Okay, you're the friend to the village, so we're not gonna kill you, but we're gonna kill your brethren. AKA you. Why won't you come play with me? Take me to the other side. Give me your wool. We have your wool. I think that's enough to make a sleeping thing. Sleep sock. That's what we're making now. That's what we're gonna make right now. I think it's literally just this. Or like... How do you make it? No. Oh. You don't even have to have wood. You don't even have to have wood. I need to kill one more. Not you. Wait, actually, I can just... Hold up. Oh, wait a minute. What is it? Oh, you. Hey, buddy. You want to come to a life of, like, a life underground? Come on. We're going. You even have, like, fresh grass, too. You're our best friend. You have fresh grass, you have everything you need. It's worth, there's no more looking back, it's looking up or looking down. Whoa, you scared me. Boom. Dude, I got that shot perfectly too. Like I went, boom. I shoot the lights out. Hide till it's bright out. Alrighty. We got one of yous. And I think we have to dye it first, which means lavender. And we have purple dye. And we have you. And we have... backpack. I think I need glass. How do you make them? Bro, how do you make these? Oh, there we go. You can make them without the glass tanks. Oh my gosh, that's actually going to be so much easier because that's not what I do. I think I have 4 leather right up here. We can make a chest and we have a piece of string. Bro. Holy shit, we have a backpack. Also, you can just... Oh my gosh. We have a backpack. Bro, this looks so weird. I'm not gonna lie, it looks so weird. But at the same time, oh my gosh, we have a backpack now. We have more inventory space, bro. We really need to make the spider farmer a real thing. Hello, you are so adorable. We love you. Whoa, you can add a furnace and a smoker? Magnet. Dang, pickup items 5 blocks away. Dang. Feeds the player with food in the backpack. Drift aloft. I think I definitely need the crafting one so that I have a crafting grid. Oh yeah, we do have tool slits in here too. And I think they might auto change as well. They might. Ooh, ah, ah. What does it do? So the fox gives you jump. Warden, slowness 2 on hit for 2 seconds. And 4. Oh. Regeneration and strength. And this gives fire resistant. Did they change that? I think they might have changed that. Because one just said, like... Works like a sponge. Feeds you a delicious piece of cake. Until you're full. Because I know the blaze gives you fire resistance. I love fire resistance. Gas see you as an ally. There's a gassed one now? Oh my gosh. Uh... Okay. You lay eggs as a chicken. Okay. So I guess Blaze backpack is good for caving. Squid backpack is good for if you're underwater. And the um backpack is good for if you're in the whatchamacallit. Insane in the membrane. I'm gonna make some stairs. I'm gonna see if I can make like a little, I guess, mock-up. It's gonna look ugly as hell, but oh well. I'm gonna need one more trap, or like one more set of trapdoors. Man, trapdoors are so expensive. Okay. Where's my bucket? Because I need my bucket for water. Okay, yeah, it does not auto change anyways. I'll see you on the moon, where we're throwing a party. And as you're gasping for the last of breath, you're tra-la-la-la-la. Tra-la-la, tra-la-la-lo. I'm never gonna do that again. My gosh, I am being affected by brain rot. Ugh. Ew. Okay. So maybe just kind of no. Kind of forces them to go that way, maybe? Oh, I swear that I'm alive. Have you ever told her she's wrong? I'll buy a year of space junk talking jazz. See you on the moon, where we're throwing a party. And as you're dead, gasping for the last of breath, you tra-la-la, moon dust around. Long destruction is starting. Take your suit up and swim in. see you on the moon. Come on. Can I not jump when... Oh, wait. Was I... Oh, I was hitting my head on that. I was like, what the hell? Hello! We need a name for the sheep, by the way. Heard it all. There is the door. I forgot what I was gonna make. I'm not gonna lie. So I'm just gonna make another crafting table and then do that. I'll bring it down there with some more wood. I'm not gonna bother. It's from the other tree. That's what I'm gonna say. It's from the other tree. Yep, it's from the other tree. Can we even grow trees down here? That would be pretty cool. Wait, I need more stairs. That's what I needed. Sarah on my shoulder whispers, please don't turn your head, cause if they went for the everything, and anything could happen. If anybody needs me, I'll be in my coffin. And all I ask of you, but please squeeze it in rhythm. Hard from stopping. If you still want me, come throw me in my coffin. If you need me, I'll be in my coffin. You could come and knock it, and I'll raise hell for you. So if anybody needs me, I'll be in my coffin. I'll be up a day walking back from the dead for you. So they'll like climb up or try to, but they find out that they can't, and so they're effectively trapped. Maybe. I'm hoping that's how this is gonna work. Let's just try... Shit. Woo! Hi. Hey, what's up? Okay, you see me, and then you're gonna come up? Alright. And then we also need... a spot for... Thank you, Coffee Bot! To melt with me. Friday, I'm in love again. If you still want me, come find me in my coffin. So a dance, a 12-step on my brain. I'd kill the man I am for one more chance to be yours, baby. No, I am begging, just ask. Don't let the latest be the last name in your coffin. If you need me, I'll be in my coffin. Okay. Okay, that actually works rather well. Works surprisingly well. So, like, this goes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 out. And this goes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So that should be enough. Like, honestly, it's not the best, but it's not the worst. And sometimes we just get them in general. So maybe we could just, like, have a little... Oops, sorry. Not sorry. What do you mean, sorry? Okay. This is such an epic spider spawner. I wonder if I could just sit in a boat over here and then just chill out. Do 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 I think the spiders are like... I think they're chasing me. They are. They are chasing me. Why do you have regeneration? Why do you have regeneration? Are you one of those weird... Are you one of those weird spiders that have the powers? You're fucking weird. You're fucking weird. Then once I'm done, all we gotta do is just get the XP from there. Oh, hell yeah. Why do you have speed? This is a good way of getting spider juice. That's what I'm gonna call it. I didn't know that those actually spawn like the powerful spiders, though. Whee! Wonder what the best place to sit is. So, like, if we watch the map, don't think they're... I think we have to do it, like, from there. So maybe I can just sit here like this, and they keep spawning? I think so. I think this is a good way of AFKing, because it looks like they're kind of gathering up still. Yeah, they're still spawning. Awesome. Awesome. Yo. We're just having a stare off. That's what we're doing. We're having a stare off with spiders. This is how it was on Tulip. Like, we would just sit here, and then, like, the spiders would go up. And then to mend our stuff, we would just, like, kill them all, and then get the XP. But instead of regular spiders, it was just, like, it was, like, cave spiders. Cause yeah, I think the stairs kind of stop them from getting going the other way, I think. And I think the water coming down from the back is stopping them from getting stuck in the corner, maybe? Because so far I'm not seeing any back there. Because I can't get there. Oh, this is satisfying. Oh, this is very satisfying. This is very satisfying. This is super satisfying. I love this. Oh, you're just spinning. You spin. Oh. Or not. Or die. Because, yeah, it kills all of them. Because it doesn't show that there's more. It's a good spider spawner. It genuinely is. I can't believe I made that. I made that. All me, myself, and I. I think I do have to be standing though for them to be able to see me. Yeah, I have to be standing to see for them to see me, so I just have to like stand like that. We're just gonna have a stare off. I think that and then me getting stuff to decorate entire the underground of this. I think that might be what we're doing for the next stream. I don't know if I'm gonna be streaming tomorrow though, cause you know it is my day off, and you know I kind of want to go. I want to see if like I can hang out with my Gmom maybe. But yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and raid somebody. Is any of my friends alive? Minecraft Mers Day? That seems so fun. Anyways, I hope y'all have a nice day, night, whatever time it is for you. Be cool, be safe, be fun to the with the raidie. Have fun. Have a nice night. It's night for me. It's 10:07 p.m. I'm actually gonna eat. But yeah, you guys are rocks. We're doing a rock raid. That's what you say in the chat. Anyways.